Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's been a while since I posted here last, so I'll go straight to the point. Yeah, it's been more or almost a year, I would say. But I'm here, back again to you, yeah, and bringing some quality content. And that's why it took me so long, because I just want to come here when I do have quality content. Okay? In today's video, the question is, do I need perfect English to get a 65 plus on the speaking section? In a way that I'm not only getting 65 plus, but I'm also getting the majority of the marks that comes from speaking that influences listening and reading. And the answer to the question is no, I don't need. Okay? We can still get 65 plus without a perfect English and without that 99% accurate English as well. What I mean by that is a person who is aiming 79 plus, a person who is aiming 65 plus, a person who is aiming 50, a person who is aiming 36, they all have to worry about different stuff. Okay? And a lot of people have no idea of what they have to do. It's all about, it becomes a thing that's all about templates. And templates, they help you, but they're not the solution. Okay? And this video proves it. I didn't use any template for Describe Image or Retell Lecture. But disclaimer, a small disclaimer, I do suggest you to keep using them, okay? This is just an experiment. And I got it, nevertheless, 65 plus. Okay, so to finally answer that question, do I need a perfect English? No. Throughout the whole exam, the whole official mock test, what I tried to do was speak with a very strong Brazilian accent. And I tried to reduce my accuracy as well, a little bit, just to show you a limit of what you should do or what you must do to get a 65, okay? And to improve this 65, what you have to work on based on what I did is accuracy, it's pronunciation. And there's no secret, there's no template that will get you there. Point made, okay? So thank you for watching today's video. Drop that like if you enjoyed the content. Share with a friend. If you know someone who is struggling to pass the PTE exam, I think this type of video brings some valuable information. Okay? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Graduates looking to give something back, volunteering either in the UK or overseas is a popular option. Voluntary projects cost anything from notching up to a few £1,000, and with that in mind, it is essential to look into the project carefully before signing the dotted line. Let's go. A level of competency in chemistry is essential to the professional practice of material conservation. An understanding of scientific concepts and a basic scientific vocabulary enables the conservator to understand conservation problems, treatments, material and techniques in a systematic and quantifiable way which can be communicated not only to the colleagues in the profession but also those from other disciplines. Since its inception, the United Nations Youth System has been working to ensure adequate food through sustainable agriculture. The majority of the world's poorest people live in rural areas of developing countries. They depend on agriculture and related activities from their livelihoods. This makes them particularly vulnerable to man-made and natural influences that reduce agricultural production. 3, 2, 1, respira. Business school admissions officers say their new drive to attract younger students was part of the result of realization that they had inadvertently limited their applicant pool to requiring several years' work experience. Talented students who might otherwise have gone to business school instead opted for a law and policy degree because they were intimidated by the expectation of work experience. The terms voice and text are multifaceted. Both have a main range of possible meanings in everyday speech and academic usage. You may encounter the two words used in variety of ways in connection with different subjects, and they won't always mean exactly the same thing. The majority of early pictures in the gallery carry unknown to artists, and fundamental questions such as when, where, and why they were painted still remain to be answered. Through the application of scientific methods, the project was potential to unlock the evidence that will allow us to determine answers to these questions.
The United States has the largest chocolate manufacturing industry.
United States chocolate factory industry.
The bus right out in front will take you to the station.
The bus will take you to the station.
There will be no classes scheduled during exam week.
No class during the exam week.
Just wait a minute, I'll be with you shortly.
Wait a minute, I'll be with you.
There is only one conclusion to this line of thought.
One conclusion line of thought.
You should inquire about direct deposit.
You should something direct deposit.
We'll study the following two pictures in the next lecture.
We study the two pictures in the next something.
Please pass these handouts along to the rest of the people in your row.
Please pass this something to the rest of the people.
The first step was to establish a baseline of known distance.
The first step was to do something in the distance.
A renowned economist is slated to speak this evening at 8.
An economist will speak this evening at 8.
When demand for the course rose, university authorities took on additional academic staff.
University authorities got additional staff. Journeys per person per year, Great Britain. Numbers: 700, 400, 200. Walk, car, bus, coach, and rail. Other modes: 1995, 1997, 2006. Journeys per person per year, Great Britain. Numbers: 700, 500, 300, 200, 100. Walk, car, bus, coach, and rail. Other modes: 1995, 1997, 2006. Ferrou, porque eu sou daltônico. I'm colorblind, so no colors. That might be yellow, green, because it's darker. Tá mais escuro. Is that blue? What is that? Switzerland. Switzerland languages and the map of Switzerland. German, French, Italian, Romansh, and the Switzerland flag, and different colors: yellow, green, and blue. And the Switzerland flag, probably the map of Europe. Volunteer age. Males, females. 18 to 24, 45 to 54, 85 years. Volunteer age and age, percentage. Males and females, percentage. 30% and 18 to 25 years old, 45 to 54 years old, and 75 to 84 years old. age 5 years old and above. Age group in years.
What has happened in Latin America as a result of globalization? Well, they have had now more than a decade of what is called reform. A decade of globalization. And throughout the continent, people are asking questions like, has reform failed us? Has globalization failed us? Because clearly things have not worked out the way they were told they ought to. Just to give you a picture, they were told that reform would lead to faster economic growth. After a decade, what are the numbers? In fact, recent growth is far slower than it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s before reform. That is not a very inspiring success story. Even in the beginning part of the 90s, growth was still below what it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s, but the growth it got in the beginning of the period was not sustainable, and it was not sustained. Throughout the region, poverty, as measured on the $2 a day standard as a percentage of the population, was actually up.
Bem no Retell Lecture você vem. Agora fica aí. The lecture speaks about not sustainable, globalization, reform, economic growth, and slower, and period, growth rate, 1960 to 1980, and 1980 to 2000, and 2000 to 2005. Latin America economic growth from 1960 to 2005, 82%, 9%, and 4%. Tá rindo do quê?
So let me begin with the notion of a dimension. The dimension is simply how many numbers that you need to specify a location. So if we think about the surface of the Earth, the equator is one-dimensional. You need to specify only one number to specify a location on the equator, namely the longitude. The surface of the Earth altogether is, of course, two-dimensional. You need to specify two numbers, the latitude and longitude, to specify a location on the Earth. The space above the Earth is three-dimensional. If I want to tell you the location of a hang glider, I need to give you the latitude, longitude, and altitude. But mathematically, there's no reason to stop at 3 dimensions. A 4-dimensional space is simply a space in which you need to specify 4 numbers to specify a location in that space. A 5-dimensional space would be one in which you need to specify 5 numbers, etc. In fact, I claim you already know an example of a 4-dimensional space. So let's define an event just to be an occurrence that happens in a small region of space at a definite time. In other words, an event is like a snap of your fingers or a clap of your hands. And now the collection of all events, if I want to specify an event, I need to give you 4 numbers. I need to tell you where it happens in space and when it happens in time.
The lecture talks about dimensional, longitude, 4 numbers, 5 numbers, latitude, 3-dimensional, altitude, all events, when and where they happen, and lecture outline. Dimension equals numbers needed to specify location. First longitude, second latitude, third altitude, and fourth time, and etc.
What building on campus can you borrow books from?
Library. Library.
In which academic field do people study things that happened in the past?
History. In history.
What do you call a person who is receiving care in a hospital?
Patient. Patient.
A jar contains 8 black marbles and 2 white marbles. If I select one marble at random, what color is it most likely to be?
Black color. Black color.
Agriculture refers to the production of food and goods through what activity?
Through agriculture.
What part of a guitar do you strum with your fingers?
The strings, the chords.
What official document protects the creator's rights to his or her invention?
Copyrighting. Acabou o speaking. Now, speaking is over.